Read any good books lately?
Ladies, gentlemen, geeks of all ages, you are now entering BJ Shea's Geek Nation. Welcome.
Hey guys, Chris Walker here, Walk Like a Flame with BJ Shea's Geek Nation, Uncle Chris on BJ and Migs. Read an article on BuzzFeed recently that talked about several books that had been turned into movies were sort of, well, butchered, completely wrecked. That is, the source material of the book was not handled in a way that a lot of fans of the books deemed worthy. Now, anytime a book is converted into a movie, you're gonna lose quite a bit. I mean, that's kind of a given. Now, books have so much in them already, characters and story and dialogue and all of that going on. You couldn't possibly take a book and turn it into a movie and be 100% faithful. Your movie would be way too long. That's just math. Now, the BuzzFeed list that I saw did have quite a bit to say about the Harry Potter books. It is true that they left quite a bit out of those books when they turned them into the movies. I don't know. That is one of the most satisfying film series that I've ever watched, and I've read all of the books a couple of times each. They did a pretty good job, and it didn't hurt that the directors treated the source material with reverence, and they were able to make those worlds come alive in a way that they did. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the movie series when it comes to Harry Potter. Are the books better? Sure. Almost everything I talk about today when it comes to movies made out of books, I'm gonna pretty much say the book was better. But that's not always the case. A couple of the other movies that made the BuzzFeed list, your Vampire Academy, your Maze Runner, a series of unfortunate events, younger kids' fare that they've turned into movies basically for kids. They did all right. I guess the movies did okay, but as far as the fans are concerned, not as good as the books. And you know, we've already talked about why that is. What happened with the Hobbit movies was sort of the opposite effect. They took the book, the source material, and expanded it. They stretched out what could have been one movie easily into a trilogy by adding in a bunch of extra material, stuff that Tolkien had on the shelf that had never been included in any other book or anything like that, so they could turn it into another trilogy. And you know what, that's fine. I liked them. Were they faithful to the books? No. There's a lot of extra stuff in there, man. There was one book that I thought they did an incredibly faithful job of converting from book to movie. It was a comic book. What are you gonna do? That was Sin City, Frank Miller's Sin City. I think they did an incredible job of staying very, very true and very, very faithful to the source material. I feel like with comic book movies, that feels like it should be easier, should be a no-brainer. 300 is another good example. They did a really good job sticking to the source material. Sin City, almost frame for frame, excellent adaptation of the comic book. And so that's one time where I think the book and the movie are sort of on a par. I wouldn't put one of them above the other. I think that the movie was incredibly good, and it's one of the best graphic novels ever made. So if you haven't checked out Sin City yet, check it out. The reason I'm even bringing this up right now is because they've made a movie out of Ready Player One, Ernest Cline's amazing, amazing book about a near future where everybody in the world is plugged into this sort of virtual reality, and it's where you do everything. You work, you play, you go to school, everything in this virtual reality world. And that was one of my favorite books from the last few years, and I'm really excited to see this movie, and I really want it to be good. Spielberg being in charge of everything makes me really, really hopeful for the movie. So I want to see what they do with this, one of my favorite books. And judging from just what I've seen online as far as the trailer goes, it looks like they've taken some liberties, and I'm fine with that. The book itself is about a guy who is in this virtual reality world, and he's trying to solve this massive mystery, the mystery of the guy that created the thing in the first place. And the main character in the book has a really, really deep background in 80s and 90s pop culture, books and movies and TV shows and games and everything. And that spoke right to me because that's the kind of stuff that I'm concerned with. You guys have seen these videos. You know what I'm talking about. And I think that really comes across in the trailer. You see a lot of visuals going, a lot of different things, a lot of different genres, movies and TV shows and things jumping around. The Iron Giant, the DeLorean from Back to the Future. So there's a lot of that going on. It feels like they've taken the heart of the story, which is this main character's obsessions, and just brought it to life and thrown a bunch of money into the special effects and everything like that. And I assume getting the licenses for all of these different items that are all going to be in the same movie together. So I'm pretty excited. On March 29th, when the movie comes out, I'm definitely going to have a ticket. I'm going to go see the thing, and then I'm going to come back here and tell you guys all about it. I guarantee you that. We'll probably talk about it on the main show as well, but I'm going to talk about it very, very specifically because I loved the book and I'm ready to love the movie. Give me the movie, make it as good as the book. Well, that's about all the time I have for today, guys. Just kind of wanted to chime in on one of my favorite books that they're turning into a movie and see what you guys thought about all of this. I mean, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below whether or not there's a movie that you thought was a very, very faithful adaptation or a movie that you thought really, really just wrecked the book. Either way, let's talk a little bit about that, all right? And until next time, stay nerdy. Well, that's about all the time I have for today, guys. I just wanted to chime in about a book of mine. Well, that's about all the time I have today, guys. I just wanted to chime in about a book of mine. Book of mine. It is not a book of mine. I mean, I own it, but it's not a book of mine.